Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the first episode of the Return to the Inner Child podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Lucy Ivanecky, and I'm the author of The Child in Us, a collection of stories about happiness, which is about finding and remembering your happiness and creating contentment in adulthood through channeling the inner child. Welcome to the family and community. My podcast is continuing the conversation and the reflective work that I started with my book, and it is about encouraging others to reflect on their purpose in life by finding and remembering their happiness through channeling the inner child. It's a strong belief of mine that the inner child holds the key to who we are and the essence of who we are and how we respond to life. So I believe we are seeking what made us happy in our childhoods as adults. I'm truly blessed to embark on this journey with all of you and to begin this journey with a special guest and friend of mine, Arianna Rodriguez Alonso. Arianna is a beautiful artist and cosplayer who works in the tech industry. She is a proud Latina from Dominican Republic who has moved to Canada and is building a life here with her husband. So we met at the AI Ladies Lounge. Shout out to the incredible women at AI Ladies Lounge. Thank you for all that you do and for bringing us together. So Arianna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
So tell me what you were like as a child.
How was I when I was a child? I think I was quiet, but also loud. I guess it depended on what was going on. I think around my family, I was a bit mischievous, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
And very playful, but also when I met like new people, new kids, I didn't talk too much, especially like in my 10s, before my 10s. I guess that's childhood, right? After that, you're a teen.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I was a good kid in general, right?
Yeah.
I think I respected my parents all the
Yeah.
time with, a tantrum here and there.
Yeah.
But I think that's normal.
That's normal. That's
Mhm.
normal. And like, yeah, what were you like with your family? Like with your siblings, with your parents?
So I have two siblings. The youngest child, which is usually the spoiled child. But I had a really good relationship with my siblings. I still do. My oldest brother, we play video games a lot. That's something that I still do. I was introduced to video games and music by him. So we shared a lot growing up. And my second sibling is my sister, my older sister. And with her, I share a lot of the, women things, I guess.
Yeah.
We used to sleep in the same room until we were like adults. So we spent a
Oh,
lot of time together.
yeah, you build a closeness, I find, when you share a room together. Yeah.
Yeah. And even as an adult, we lived together in the same house. So we learned how to share a space and responsibilities. And I actually love to live in with my sister. Like the
Oh.
only reason I don't live with her anymore is because I decided to get married.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I wouldn't have any issues.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah. And then my parents, the same. They, when I was a teen, they moved out of the country. So I had like the chance to live with my siblings and my grandpa for a while.
Wow.
But it went well, I think. The reason I say it is because, a lot of people get worried, like, oh, you're not with your parents anymore. And there's a lot of like risk that comes to that. But I think we were taken care of like my oldest brother, he was already an adult by the time, and my grandpa was always with us. So
Yeah.
we had like a good, let's say, authority image, or like support, because they were most like support. But I always had, and still have, a good relationship with my parents.
Mm.
I'm a spoiled kid. Like my dad loves me. I say I'm his favorite. That's not true, of course, but just for the funsies. Uh, my dad was always a supporter of my art and
Oh,
all the weird things I did. My
I
mother
love
as
that.
well. And yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I'm also the youngest too, so I totally get the spoiled part. We were spoiled with love. That's what it was.
Yes.
We were spoiled with love.
And patience, I think. I think
Yeah.
that's
And
that
also,
might be a big one.
yeah. And the version of our parents that was like they were already parents, we weren't the first ones. So
They
they
were
were,
already trained and had all
yeah,
the experience.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, what was it like during that time period? Um, yeah, when your parents were away for a bit, but you got to develop that relationship with your grandpa.
I think I was too young. Like I was in my teens, early teens, I think, probably 15 or I honestly I don't remember. I'm so bad with numbers.
It's okay.
But it was easy. Like we always felt like, family. We respected each other. Um my grandpa was basically around the house, to protect us, because you usually don't leave teens and kids alone, right, after
Yeah.
school, specifically. Like you want someone that has adult thinking, to take care of things. And sometimes even silly things are, make sure you close the door before going to bed. uh but same with my grandma as well. Even though she didn't live with us, I still had a really, I guess, average relationship with them. Uh, they passed away, so
Mm.
unfortunately they're not here anymore. But with my grandpa specifically, I do remember him more because we spent more time with him. Uh, but honestly, I don't know what much to say. He helped a lot around the house with like cooking and making sure we had food.
Yeah.
and yeah, things like that. I think I was too young to identify things that you can notice now as an adult.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that as well. Like, those moments in childhood that you look back now, you're like, wow, that was something special. Like at the time, you didn't realize how special that moment was, right? Like that presence. And tell us too what it was like growing up in the Dominican Republic as well. Like, did you grow up in the city or a village? Yeah, tell us about that.
So I grew up in the city, but not in like the metropolitan area, but it was a city and we had quick access to like the metro area. It was fun, I think. uh, I had a lot of friends,
Hmm.
not like popular kid kind of friends, but friends enough, to have like a healthy childhood, I guess.
Yeah.
And they were all Dominican as well, which is something that, here in Canada, people are from very diverse backgrounds. So you get exposed to a lot of different experiences. Whereas in the DR, most people kind of share the same values, same worldview, same religion, same language. So it's, I think, easier in a way. But I'm not sure if easier is the right word, but I don't know. There are many things you don't even think of because you're just not exposed to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my childhood was very average, I want to say.
Mm. And like, so you said that you had a healthy childhood. So what does that mean to you? How would you describe that? Like, what makes it a healthy childhood?
I think the fact that there was no like violence at home, not there was a lot of emotional support and also like resources. Like we had food, right? We had
Yeah.
a house, like a roof over our heads. It was very stable. When I say resources, not like we were rich. We were not rich. My parents worked a lot, like any other parent, but we had the essentials. And yeah, it was very supportive, very traditional family structure. That mom and dad were present all the time. The other kids and like our other family members were quite similar to, even though maybe one of them did not had mom or dad present. It still was, we were still surrounded by other families that were healthy as well. So things like no drugs,
That's
no
important.
alcohol
Yeah.
abuse, that kind of thing is what I mean with like healthy.
Yeah. No, that's very important. That you didn't have like that kind of substance abuse around you, or you weren't exposed to that as well. Even the friends that we spend our time with is really important, so that we don't get into those kind of difficult situations or difficult crowds. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad though that you had a good childhood and you had a healthy childhood. Okay, so let's talk about your inner child. So how would you describe the essence of who you are? So just think about you as a child. Like, what were you like as a child?
Okay, so from 5 to 7, honestly, I don't have a lot of memories, but I do remember I liked video games a lot. I still do, but back
Yeah,
then that was the thing.
yeah,
I I wasn't online yet, I think by that age, so there are many things I hadn't explored yet, but I like playing with like kids' toys, like dolls, and playing like with other kids.
mhm.
Traditional games you will play it outside. I guess I still like those things.
Yeah. Let's get into the cosplay actually. Like, how did you, who taught you how to sew? Where did you learn how to sew?
I learned I want to say on my own online, but that's
Wow.
not necessarily true, but it is true. So,
That's really cool.
mm,
That takes a lot of discipline as a child. Wow.
but I was young and I had a lot of free time, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the good part of learning things when you're younger. You're just eager to do stuff and you have time. I didn't have resources, but I learned either way, playing with what I had around.
That's really
Mm, My mom did help me understand how to use a sewing machine.
hmm.
Uh, but that was like very brief. I still want to credit her because she supported me, and I think that's the most
Yes.
important part.
That's 100%. Yeah.
Uh, but for the most part, I did just, search for tutorials online, and I just, messed around with clothes I had. and then just got slowly better and better and better. But the internet was my teacher, I want to say.
That's very interesting. Like, how did you learn through the internet and online? Like, did you look up videos? Did you join communities? Like, yeah, how did you figure out about this world?
It was mostly YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube is definitely my lifelong teacher. Anything I want to learn, I love YouTube.
I feel that as a millennial.
Yes. But you also find community along the way.
That's true.
I've met a lot of friends through cosplay. Actually, my most close friends nowadays I've met through cosplay.
Wow.
And we just all shared, like, oh, I'm doing this, or I found this tutorial, I found how to do this. So we just keep sharing techniques and things we find. And also we share our experience doing things. I think Facebook was also a big part of it back in the day.
Yeah.
It's dead now.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a big thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and were all of these people from the Dominican Republic, or were they international?
Most of us were Dominican, like my
Oh, okay. Nice.
My closest friends are from the DR. I met through cosplay, but we did met in person and went to events together. We made costumes together. We still do, but more limited, right? We are not as young anymore. A lot of
Yeah.
things to do, so it's hard to like coordinate and decide sometimes. But through the years, I've also met a lot of people from all over the world who also cosplay. So I will say they are also part of my community, and I shared with them to a very similar extent to how I'll share with my local friends as well.
Yeah. And what drew you into cosplay specifically? Because yeah, I feel it's a niche activity. It's very cool, very interesting. But yeah, it's always neat how people like find their communities, right?
So I was always interested in cartoons, and I found anime when I was, I think, 9 or 10.
Okay.
The first anime I watched that I knew was like anime was Naruto.
Oh,
Even though I have watched so many anime before, I just didn't know it was called that way. Basically, anime is like Japanese animation, but I loved any kind of animation as a kid. And I remember this very clearly. I saw someone on Google Images dressed up as Sakura from Naruto. She's like the female main character of the protagonist group.
okay.
And I was like, oh my God, what is that? Like, it's a real person, but it looks like this character. So I saw the word cosplay on it, Googling everything around that. And there was a random day, I Googled cosplay Dominicano, which is Dominican, right? To see if we have that here. Well, in my country, I'm not there, but in the DR. And I found a forum, and I saw people like they were chatting, it was active. So I just started talking to people, and then finding out about upcoming events, and I just decided to go there. My parents were with me the first time, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
Just to make sure it's safe.
Safe,
Space.
Safety first. Yeah.
Yeah. They loved it.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Wow. So yeah, you found it through anime.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Like, are you still interested in different kinds of anime? In that one specifically, which ones are you interested in now?
So I don't watch a lot of anime anymore. Not for any particular reason. I think, I don't know, there's so much, there's so many releases every season. And for me, it's impossible to catch up. I have the same problem with video games. I think when I was around 14 years, I figured I can't catch up with all the video games that are launching because I don't have a job. My parents are not going to buy them. Like, we just can't afford it. So I stopped like trying to catch up, and even knowing what was out there, I was like, I just play whatever I want. I can play, right? And I love those games very much. So I just kept playing them. And I think the same thing happened with anime, more like getting to my adulthood. I watch a lot of like classic ones that everybody knows about, like Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, as I mentioned. But there was one I never watched because it's famous for being insanely long. So One Piece. It's so long.
How long is it?
Like 1,000+ episodes.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's a commitment.
That is a commitment.
But in my adulthood, I decided to watch it because it has a very big fandom and people love it so much. I was like, it must be good, or at least decent, if so many people speak so high, you know, of that anime.
That's true.
So I did watch it, and I'm up to date, and I like it. I really like it. I'm a fan.
Oh my gosh, you're up to date. How long did it take you to get up to date?
A year and something. Yeah. Took longer than a year.
Yeah, no, that's really cool though. I like that. Wow. Let's kind of jump back to childhood a bit. How, as a child again, how did you respond to life? You know, growing up. Like, think about your emotions, like when you had a specific kind of emotion or there was a specific situation. How did you respond in those situations as a child?
So I think it's easier to think of like challenging situations.
Yeah.
Let's see. If I can think of a challenge growing up, whenever I did like something like wrong, you know, like let's say I would argue with my sister or like maybe fight, not like punches, because, you know, there was never that way, but there was some, you know, kids fighting.
Yeah.
My dad, I remember, he will, I don't know the words in English, but he will ask us to like kneel. This is a very like traditional thing for like maybe 5 minutes or 10. In our heads, it was eternity, but it was like maybe. So you kind of learn to reflect in silence, right? Because I wasn't gonna, or at least it wasn't my style as a kid, but I was not going to complain, you know. I might cry, you know, because I was disappointing my parents.
Yeah.
Same thing with my mom. Like, if something bad happened, she would similarly, you know, like complain, or not complain, but like call us out. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think I felt bad because I was disappointing them, not because I didn't got away with what I wanted. I think that's the recurring theme in every time I had issues at home or at school or with anyone in my family. What else? With like positive things, I wasn't a very lovely child, I think. Actually, that's not true. My mom always reminds me of the many letters I wrote.
Oh,
to my mom and to my dad, like, you know, I love you, Dad.
that's nice. Yeah.
They still keep them.
Oh, you were loving.
Yeah. So I guess as
really
a child, very young, I did that a lot. I didn't do it as like get into the things, which I guess might be normal. And even today, I will say my sister is the most like loving of the family. Like she loves everyone, and she's always like, you know, has very lovable messages for everybody.
Oh, I like that. I like
For me, I
that.
think I was never like a person who hugs everyone or like who kiss everyone,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like very reserved anyway. I just was, you know, doing whatever is acceptable or like perceived as normal or like,
Yeah.
you know.
What you said too about the punishment. I didn't know other parents did that. My parents did that as well, the kneeling.
Yeah.
We actually, oh my gosh, they put like popcorn kernels on the ground and we had to kneel on that and carry a phone book. And the phone book was heavy.
Yeah, that sounds heavy. I think a lot of reflecting like with my childhood friends. I don't think it was rare. I think it was quite common. I don't know about now. Like I don't know what parents
Yeah, I
do
have no
nowadays.
idea. I have no idea what parents are doing now. It's interesting. We grew up in different places, but yeah, and different cultures, but the same sort of experience. Going back to childhood, right? Like as a child, who would you say was your favorite person? But who was your role model? Like who's someone you looked up to?
That's a good question. I think I looked up to my parents a lot. In different ways.
Yeah.
So I always saw my mom as a really hardworking person. And I wanted to do that, right? Like I want to be yeah, like a role model, right? This is
Yeah.
an example of good person, right? And I think I got that from my mother a lot. That doesn't mean my dad is not hardworking. It's just that I pick different things from him. And
Yeah.
those things, he was my role model in critical thinking,
Yeah,
I think,
that's
because we
important.
used to, while we were having lunch or dinner, like in the table, we were speak and like, you know, talk a lot
Yeah.
for hours. So I always, I think I paid attention to the types of discussions and the topics we talked. And I always saw him as someone who will not take, you know, whatever the argument is as like the complete truth.
I like that.
And he's also martial artist in his.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. You don't hear that too often.
Yeah, I think my dad was like the weird one, not the
Yeah.
weird, but you know, not the, because in my country usually we like dancing, we like baseball, we
Right.
like music, and he likes all of those things. But he also does other things that are not as common, like martial arts. So he has been doing that since he's a teen, like 13 maybe,
Wow.
and
That's a
he's
long
still
time.
doing it as at 50.
Oh
I
my
think he's
gosh.
almost 60 at this point. Oh my god, I can't believe this.
That's a long time to be
Yeah.
practicing martial arts. Wow. Or just anything in general. Like good for him. He's doing very well.
And active, like he's in
Yeah,
good
it's very
physical shape
active. Very
because of
good.
that. And I think I got that from, like, he was my role model in that aspect, that if you like something, you know, just keep doing it for the rest of your life, because
Yeah.
why not? So I guess being passionate about something I got from him.
Oh, I love that.
And my older siblings as well. I think they were role models to me in different aspects. But yeah, I think my family, like, because they were my, I wasn't exposed to a lot of other people
Yeah.
in the same, like, I mean, I lived with them, right? It makes sense.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was always as we did, when I was a teen, my grandpa was at home. Uh, but it was a very small portion of my life.
Mm. With your grandpa.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I would agree too with myself. Like, my greatest role models are my family members for sure. Like my parents and my brothers.
Adding something to that, when I talk to other friends who weren't as fortunate, I've always realized that that's the biggest privilege I've had in my life. It's my family.
That's very true.
So, and it's so sad that it's completely out of your control.
Yeah.
So that's why I always think I'm just lucky. Like, there's no luck is a big component of it. And
Yes.
I was just born in a good place, and roll with it and do your best with it. Appreciate it. Be grateful.
Yeah, 100%. We need to be grateful for everything, and like you said, it is a privilege. It is a
Mhm.
privilege, and uh it's one of the greatest blessings we can be given. Yeah, our families. Um you mentioned luck, and we talked about this before, and I love this topic. Um so I want to ask you, like, what role has luck played in your life, and like how do you view luck? Yeah, let's get into that.
All right. Well, I've been always super lucky. There are many things that I feel like are so random that I don't know if I deserve them or not, because it's hard to really, assign, who gets to say if you deserve or don't deserve something, right? And it's funny because during the holidays, I had a conversation uh, with some people around if luck is real or not.
Hmm.
And I think their argument was around the lines of you have to be prepared, and you need to do your best. And if luck comes, if opportunity comes, then you are prepared to catch that opportunity.
That's true.
And there's truth to that, right? It doesn't mean you're gonna just sit down and wait for things to happen.
Yeah.
But I've been lucky, like extremely lucky. And I don't know how to explain that. Some people might think, oh, you're blessed by God, or you're blessed by karma, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you, right? If that's the case. But again, it's something outside of my control. So I can't necessarily tell other people. I wish I could just give part of my luck, and share it with people.
Yeah.
So some examples, I always like to give the silly example, which is I had so many exams in university or school that I didn't prepare for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
then the teacher just decided to cancel it last minute, and I was like, oh, great. That happened many times.
That's wild.
It's
Like,
very silly, right? Because,
yeah.
we're talking about privilege, being in a family, loving family. That's a big luck.
Yeah, it
Uh,
really is. Yeah, that's true. You can't choose that.
but I've also had mediums for example, I remember my first computer. That was mine, not like the home computer that we share
Right.
or my brother computer. I was saving money. So I used to make costumes for other people,
Yeah.
like as a teen. I didn't make a lot of money, but some money.
Uh, That's exciting. It's
But not
exciting to
enough to
make
like
money.
buy a computer, right?
Yeah.
So I asked my parents if they could help me get one. Like, I will try to get half of it, and then they put the other half, and I'll get a computer. And they were, you know, on board. So I made my costumes. I saved money, and then an aunt, very lovely aunt, which is actually, she's not related by blood to us, but she's
Okay.
my mom's best friend.
Oh, that's
She
nice.
decided to buy it, and just give it to us for free. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's also for me an example of luck,
Yeah,
because who would
that's
have
very
thought?
true. That's very true. That is a kind of luck, even. I would say, like, being gifted something that you wanted, and needed even.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
weren't expecting it because,
And
the
you weren't, yeah.
agreement was I'm going to save half and then my parents are going to save the other half. It wasn't, by the way, any like a Mac, or it was a cheap computer to today's standards, but, I couldn't, or I don't know if I couldn't, but I wasn't aiming for a powerful computer. It was just a laptop.
Yeah.
And then what? I have other big examples, as part of the immigration process coming here.
Yeah.
But it, I want to think it's luck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, you mentioned something that was stuck out a bit with me. Um, so you mentioned about the unknown, like, um, what is, yeah, how comfortable are you with the unknown, right? Like, with not knowing what's gonna happen next.
I wish we could predict things, right? I think we
Yeah.
all like predictability,
Yes.
but it's uncertain. We live in an uncertain world, so do your best.
Yeah.
and, and try to also get help from other people, because I've realized sometimes you just have to change strategies, maybe 100 times, but you have to continue changing strategies.
Yeah, so true. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you're rebuilding yourself like every 5 years or something. That's what I've heard. But it does. It feels that way, right? It feels like my mom always says like we change every 7 years. I think there's some truth to that. I don't
But
know what like
even more frequent, I think the
yeah.
time horizon might be even shorter.
Yeah, it might be shorter than that, right? Like yeah, I don't know the exact time I would say, but like I do think we change every so often and it's noticeable, right? And then different people enter your life or they're leaving or you know um that like yeah, and that version of you needs those different people, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very interesting how we evolve, right, as people. Yeah. I want to get into more talking about your culture though. So let's talk about like how has your culture shaped who you are as a person? Uh, oh, and I love languages too, so we can get into that as well. How the Spanish language has influenced you.
Mm. I mean, I guess it has shaped my personality
Yeah,
in many different ways. Although I don't like necessarily generalizing, like, oh, this is Dominican culture and Dominicans are this way or act this way. Of course, there are general traits that you can use to describe it, and I definitely fit into those. So I guess I'm gonna talk about that.
yeah,
Maybe.
go ahead. Yes.
So one of the things that we're known for is that we are very warm,
Yeah,
and that it's easy for us to make friends and to talk
I
to
like
people.
that.
And I think I identify with that. Uh, but it also depends on if you're building a relationship with a fellow Dominican versus someone from another country.
Yeah.
Even so, I think we are easy to talk to and easy to talk with. And like, I don't want to say extroverted because that doesn't, we are, not everyone is extroverted in my culture, of
That's
course,
true. Yes.
but it's generally easy to hang out with people, especially something that I've noticed um, with people you don't know. So something that happens at anime conventions, to put an example, we are of course a very small community. So I guess this might be a reflection of smaller versus huge, but at least that's what I have been exposed to. Uh, it's very easy for, let's say, a new cosplayer or a new person interested in anime to go to an event and then leave with new friends. This is actually something that happened to us a lot growing up,
Oh, nice.
going to events. I don't want to say it's not the case for other cultures because, I mean, I don't know.
That's right. Yeah.
But even as an adult, I've seen that continuing happening in our local conventions. So I guess I relate to that. For me, it's not hard, to talk to other people.
I
And
like that. That's good.
yeah,
Yeah, we need that. We need that energy, honestly, because yeah, I find sometimes we're too much in our heads, like meeting new people, making new friends, like we overcomplicate it. Just say hi, start the conversation. I like that. It's a good energy. And let's talk about the language. I know the Spanish in Latin America is different in the different countries. But yeah, like how has Spanish shaped um shaped like your thinking and like the way that you respond to people? Because I feel I also hold that belief. Like I love learning new languages. And I hold the belief that I feel that our languages that we speak and that we grew up with, they shape how we think and how we process things, I think. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's also tied to the environment you grew up in. I love the quotes. I don't know, like, who created it. I don't know the author, but I've heard this many times online. Is how you say thing is how you think things. So when
Yeah.
you learn a different language and you see how people phrase certain thoughts, uh, is usually a reflection of how they think because of their culture, because
Yeah.
of how their upbringing and how society works in that region.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, yeah, I mean, I'm a native Spanish speaker from the Dominican Republic, which is really different from other, I mean, not really, really different. We still understand each other, but let's
Yeah.
say I'm gonna compare it to Chile.
Oh my gosh,
The
I've heard
class,
I heard about this.
yeah, but our idioms are different, uh, but we still understand each other. Maybe when you're studying a different language, it depends on what kind of language it is. So for me, English and French, I didn't feel a huge difference in, like, I should think things this way, or I
Right.
should, like, I feel like it's easier to translate things between those three languages. And there are a couple of exceptions, right? For example, in Spanish we have, and in French you also have, buen provecho, bon appetit,
Yeah.
just as a way to initialize food, right? Like, you always say
Yes.
that before you're eating. It's a way of saying
Yes.
enjoy your meal, because maybe for us meals are so important. We always say that. In English, you don't have
Yeah.
that. And it's really weird. Like, I don't know what to say and enjoy your meal. Nobody really says that, or at least
Nobody. No, I know that. Yeah, it's such a like, okay, let's just start eating kind of
yeah.
thing.
For us, it's like a big deal. We perform this small ritual before having food.
I like that though. I like that because you see it reveals like part of the culture again, like
yeah.
that, okay, this eating is like a sacred act, and like whoever you're eating with, you're creating a connection in that moment with them. And it's special. But even me, like when I speak our native language in our family, like it's I feel like I have a different personality in that language, right? Like it's different in English. I feel like our family is from Czechoslovakia, right? The Slovakian part. And I feel like the Slovak language is so cheeky sometimes, like it's very silly. There's a lot of hidden jokes, and that's part of the personality, right? It's like the silliness comes out like this, and a lightness, right? And it's different. I mean, we have jokes like that too in English. It's just like a different vibe. So yeah, I get like you get like kind of a sense of the culture in the language, or it reveals itself naturally, right?
I think for some people, it might also depend on your proficiency in that language, because
Very true. Yeah.
if you don't have the same level, then it's hard to just express yourself to the same with the same naturality that you will in your native language.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Um,
it's not something you can necessarily control, but your personality might be perceived as differently because you just don't have the right words or expression or confidence to express yourself as freely.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I remember reading something that said, like, because when I was learning the French language, someone had said, if you can make a joke in that language, then you can speak it very well. And that stayed with me. It's like, so true, right? Like, yeah, I feel like just the mechanics of the joke, like being able to tell the story, then like delivering the punchline correctly. What you had said about limitations when trying to express yourself in a different language, you don't have like the full ability yet to show your full personality, right? And that's tricky because then the people in that place only see a part of your personality, but it's not the full spectrum of it. Let's stay with the Dominican culture. What do you resonate more with, the customs and practices of your culture or the values taught in your culture? And what are the values as well? Because I have some familiarity with the Dominican culture, but of course I'm not from there, so I want to hear it from you, what they are.
Hmm. So I would say I the values resonate more with me than the
Yeah.
customs, because I've
Okay.
always been a weird
Yeah.
Dominican, I want to say. And shout out to all my other weird Dominicans. We're still Dominicans, even if we may not fit the box, right?
I like that. I love weirdness. I love
Yeah.
weirdness in general. So I love that.
So, values, I think hospitality might be a
Mm,
good
yes.
way to start.
Yeah,
Um, it's very easy for us to find help among family and friends.
I love that. That's so important.
I think I know the economy is changing all of this, so the
Oh my,
situation is different
we
now.
we need more help now from our communities. That's for sure.
Yeah. But we always had when I say we, I don't want to include all Dominicans, but I and maybe people around me have always compared that in North America, kids go to school, then high school, and then they move out for college or university. I know people are not doing it as much because economy,
Yeah,
but that's not a thing in the DR. People will keep living with their parents, and
I love
it's
that.
it's in part necessity because you can't afford anything. If you don't have a good job, it's hard. But also, there's no pressure to do it either. Like your family's never going to kick you out because you're
I
already in the
love
age
that.
where you should be living alone. That just not it's not like that. You see a lot of people 20 somethings, even 30s, they still, might live with their parents because maybe they're still studying, or even if they have a job, their job is not, it doesn't pay a lot to for you to say, okay, I want to live alone, and cover all of my expenses. And what usually happens is even those people who live with their parents at that age, they're not just there, they help with the house, right? They
Yeah,
will share expenses and take care of the house, It's not like because I live with my mom takes care of the house. No,
yeah,
it's,
no,
it's not like that. Or at least not around the people that I've met and what I've seen generally.
yes,
Of course, there's people who've moved out, and that's
yeah,
normal, but there's no pressure. And I think that's a differentiator.
I love
Uh,
that. So important.
so, and when I said at the beginning hospitality, uh, imagine you are pregnant, right? And you're going to have a kid, and you can't necessarily afford daycare, right? In North America, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
very
my gosh.
expensive.
It's
And
tremendous.
maybe you don't have like mom or grandma or like auntie available or in the same area because people move out, right? They might move to a different city, different state, different province. These countries are also huge.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
So it's hard to like just move around like and visit family. But in the DR is a very small country. So the farthest you can move is it's maybe 4 6 hours away, and six it's an insane
Wow.
number,
My gosh. Like even driving, yeah, driving 6 hours is not bad at all.
Yeah, no, that's like most people don't have that huge, because the city has a big concentration of people.
Right.
Of course, you can have family who lives in another province. That's
Yeah.
totally normal, but it's a small country. So when you need help from your community, and I thought of the example of having a kid, right? You usually see the family helping take care of the child, while you're working. Yeah, and you don't have to pay like daycare. You could, if you live in a fancy area, there are, but people are okay helping each other.
Hmm. I love that. Like that's something that I always critique about North American culture is the um that aspect, that individualism of like, having the need to move out after or during college, right? During university, and you lose a lot of like um potential to come closer with your family at that time, right?
Mhm.
Because I think up until that point, you're in school, you're in elementary school and high school, and you don't really have an appreciation yet for that as much for that family time. I like, looking at myself, like, um, my parents also raised us with that value as well. Like, you don't need to rush to move out, or yeah, there's no pressure um to live on your own if you're not ready, right? They encourage us to stay as long as we needed to. And I felt that that was really special because you have more awareness, you have more appreciation. It's different than just you like in elementary school and high school. Like you don't really focus on that, right? Yeah, and that's one of the things I critique because I feel that it's then the people who move out, they lose kind of, they don't develop as many skills of like cooking, cleaning. That's something my mom always says, like, people don't know how to cook. And it's true. It's true. When you move out so young, you have to learn. It's extremely difficult. Like, I can't even imagine. It's extremely difficult because you have to learn everything on your own. And you kind of weren't really paying attention to those things growing up. And now you're forced to do that, right? Whereas when I was living, well, still living at home, but at that time in university, like that was when I really paid attention. Okay, how do I make our cultural food so that I know, so I don't forget this, and I can make this on my own, and I can make this for my future family, and pass the legacy. You lose some of that
Because you have to do it all at once.
all at once, and yeah, I mean, you're calling your parents, but it's very different, like, making the meal at home together. I appreciate that in your culture. And yeah, I love the hospitality and the togetherness and the community vibes as well. I think that's very important. Community is very important for me. Yeah, so something I want to ask you about as well is, because I know you're married. How did you and your husband meet? Where did you guys meet?
It was at work.
Ah, okay, interesting. Yeah, a lot of people meet at work. Yeah,
Yeah.
so what was the moment like?
We worked in the same team. Yeah. And honestly, at the beginning, he was just another random dude that works at the same job I am.
Yeah.
I never thought of him of a prospect
Yeah.
husband. But there was a time where a lot of people in the office was going to the gym,
Okay.
and I was literally asking, like, in the office space we were, most of them were male, and some of them went to different gyms. So I was like, okay, which one has like best price? Like which one I want to go, because I also was interested in going. And the gym he was going to was very close to the office,
Okay.
whereas the other guys were going to another one that was a very far. It was not convenient. So I asked him, can I go with you? Because his membership offered, like, you can bring someone every
Mm-hmm.
day, I think it was, or a couple times. I don't remember the exact like limitations, but you could bring someone.
Okay.
And he was like, sure, I'll give you like a free trial. Like after a month, you have to pay me some portion of the
Oh, okay.
subscription. I was
That's
like,
fair.
okay, fair. So we started going to the gym together. And that's when we actually started talking outside of work.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
technically we met at the gym, but that's not true. We actually didn't speak at all in the gym. It was from gym to the office. We walked together. So that's
Okay.
when we actually started talking.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice. And you guys got closer that way.
Yeah.
Nice. Um, yeah, and as you mentioned work too, right? Like, what was it like working in tech in the Dominican Republic? Like, what's the work culture like there?
I think it drastically depends by company. Depends on who you work with, yeah, your team, your management and that. But it's usually we have a lot of companies that offer like software services. So You usually build things for a client, either a local company that needs software to manage something in their business, or a client from another country who also needs the same thing. So I think the relationship most of the time is very business to business.
Okay.
There is a scene of people building things for consumers as well, but I don't think most jobs are in that space. And we were very privileged of working with a really nice team.
That's important.
We didn't make loads of money, but we had good support and a very positive culture, right? We did work a lot, like a lot. Nights, long nights, and long, yeah, I don't want to, downplay that. But it wasn't like every day. It was certain seasons were very heavy. We were very busy.
Yeah.
But the team was supportive. And you know how people say like, oh, we're family. Like every company that will use that is a red flag.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
This team, or at least the time where we were there, we had many projects where we in the team felt like, I don't want to say family, it has a back notation, but we were very close because of what we were doing. And we also had a lot of things in common. So even none of us are working there anymore, we are still strong friends even today.
I like that. That's good. Yeah.
And our interactions are completely outside of work. Thing. I know we're no longer talking about culture, but we have a WhatsApp group for everything in the DR. Similar in Latin America.
Let's get into immigration and why. Yeah, how did you and your husband decide to immigrate to Canada? How did you make that decision together? Because it's such a big decision to leave your home country.
So my husband's family has some people who don't live in the DR, but for the most part, like his closest family members are in the DR still. Whereas in my case, most of my family has moved out of the country. So I kind of grew up with the idea that perhaps I will also eventually move.
That's interesting. Okay.
And I think that's the reality for many Dominicans. It's common for people it's common for people to have family in the States or family abroad in somewhere else. So we didn't really plan for it. It wasn't like, yes, we want to move. I think it was the pandemic actually who kind of started that thought.
Interesting.
We started saving money when I'll just go back.
Yeah.
One of the main things when we started our relationship, we were very clear about like our expectations, and money was a very important part of it.
Yeah. Definitely.
We speak freely about anything and everything, and money is very transparent. So we wanted to just travel. Like I always loved traveling, and I wanted to travel with my husband together. We were boyfriends back then, but let's just save, and go to New York.
Yeah.
Visit together. So we started saving for tourism trip, and then the pandemic came. So no trips, no traveling. But we kept saving, and it was 50-50 every single month. We would just deposit a certain amount in a joint account.
Yeah.
And even if there was no trip, we kept adding money to the account to the point where we had enough to like buy a car, not a fancy car, just a car, that normal sedan you can use to move around.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk numbers because, conversions, but
yeah, that's
a sedan. And we were joking like, oh, we have enough money now to buy a car. We used a Hyundai Sonata, which is at some point, or the city was flooded with that kind of car. And a lot of people were talking about those cars. So
I
we were like,
get that.
maybe we can buy a Sonata. But we didn't have any need to buy a car. So that's when we
Yeah,
started thinking, okay, what do we do with this? Like, do we move together? Should we continue saving and like, I don't know, maybe buy a small apartment or rent actually, because it wasn't enough. It was might be enough for a down payment. Anyway, probably not, honestly, so expensive.
I know everything is expensive. Everywhere is expensive, it seems.
But yeah, the conversation of moving out of the country started because we were saving money. And I think that's
interesting. Yeah.
also privilege, right? We had jobs
Yeah.
and we had good salaries. Maybe not the best salary to tech standards, but it was good for our living conditions. Both of us lived with our parents, so we didn't pay like rent or
That's good.
mortgage. So we could save. And because other family members have also migrated to other countries, that's when we started thinking, okay, so if we want to move, what do we have to do to move? Like, how much money we're gonna need? And we had that conversation, I think, around 3 years before actually moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. We chose at the end Canada because it was close.
Yeah. That's interesting. And I know you said too you have you have your brother here too. Was he already here when you moved, or like did he come after?
He came before. Yeah. And I learned a lot about the process of coming here because he was also in the process. So we kind of,
Yeah.
they actually were the ones who kind of put the idea, like the seed of, oh, maybe consider Canada, because this and this and that. Whereas other family members I have in Europe, I think
Yeah.
the process might be similar, but I guess having someone as close makes it easier for you to understand it and ask more questions more frequently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we also had friends that were here. So I guess it was just easier to gather information.
That helps. Oh, and is your sister still in the DR, or is okay?
Yeah, she's still there.
And parents too.
No, my parents are in the
Oh.
US.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Let's talk about some of the challenges coming here. What would you say were the biggest challenges of leaving the DR, being here as a newcomer in Canada?
There are challenges, I think, in different aspects. Financial is very expensive. Very
Yes,
expensive.
absolutely. I know.
Not only like the process of, the paperwork you do have to pay for your permits and your residence application is very expensive. And, some people will also pay for lawyers or consultants. We didn't pay for lawyers, which are more expensive than consultants, but at some point we did do a consultant. You also have to have a lot for like emergency fund because you might not get a job immediately. I
Yes.
struggling with that. My husband has been lucky, but money was one of the things I was most worried about. So we did save a ton before coming here.
That's good. Yeah.
Anyone attempting that has to really, really prioritize finances.
Yep. Very true.
In terms of culture, it hasn't been very challenging because we had always worked with people in North America.
Okay. So you had that exposure.
Yeah, Canada and USA is not the same, but it's
Yeah.
similar.
Yes.
So, and we are also very familiar with North American media.
Yeah.
Ever since growing up, we watched so many like movies and series, and For example, YouTube. My husband also loves YouTube. Most of the creators we follow are North American, so it's what we expected.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked me how it's been, adapting to it, and I honestly don't know. Like the only like true challenge in terms of adapting is the winter, but even so,
Yes,
it's
very
not
true.
as harsh, because again, it's what did you expect? If they tell you it's gonna be -20, even -30, you have to wear appropriate clothes, you're not gonna
Yeah.
survive. So
No, no. I know you can't be a hero here. Like, get
yes,
your
not with
gear.
winter, no.
No.
Never underestimate Canadian winters. They are tough. But
I
you get
know.
used to it. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Can't control it,
Yes.
can't change it.
Yeah, that's right. Um, yeah, it's interesting, yeah, what you said about the culture because I talked to a few other friends who are newcomers. And yeah, they've mentioned the culture shock. Like, was there anything that like really like shocked you in the culture where it was like, whoa, like that's something different. Like I have to get used to that.
I want to mention something positive first. That was a
Okay.
positive culture shock. Something that I love is that, here when you're in a bus and you're about to get out of the bus, people will say thank you to the
Yeah,
driver.
that's very
I've never
true.
seen that. And that was like, oh,
Oh,
I
that's
love this.
interesting.
So now I say thank you when I get
Yay!
out of the bus.
I love that. I know it. Yeah, it is true. Like but it depends on which bus you're taking because if it's like the TTC,
Um,
sometimes they do, but not always. But definitely in Hamilton, yeah, they will.
and also, maybe this is maybe more not negative, but the traditional definition of culture shock related to winter. I've never had a summer and winter wardrobe. I just have my closet. I have my clothes and I wear them all year long. So just the idea of having stuff that you only wear in summer and winter was so weird to me. And I've made so many questions. I researched so much about like what's a good winter boot, Because I didn't want to buy a brand. I don't
Yeah,
trust brands. So I want to
I feel that.
understand, how do you define a good winter boot? And across Canada, that's different because the winters in Canada are not the same, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, no,
So
it's
there's a lot
different.
of learning. Same with like the coats and like your layers for like thermal and like heat protection, all of that. It was just so weird to me to have like a box or like the end of my closet. I don't touch it for the rest of the year after the season changes. That's just
Yeah.
weird for me. But it's part of it.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. But again, it's because I grew up here, right? Like never thought about that like that. Having a wardrobe you can wear the whole year round, or at least most of the year. I want to revisit language again. How has it been to use the English language, even the French language more frequently here? Like, what's that experience been like? Yeah, how has it been a challenge? How has it been joy? Yeah, what has it been like?
I think one thing that stood out is that Canadians are quiet.
I know.
And there's one thing you watch in YouTube where people have good microphones and people speak slowly and, in a way that it's optimized for most people, so everyone can
Yes.
understand. And another is people speaking in their natural habitat, super quiet and sometimes super fast. So when
Yeah,
you
no,
combine
I
the
know.
two, it's like I thought I knew enough English, but then you're in a like live interacting with people real time and you're like, what did you say? Like, can you
Yeah.
repeat that?
I know.
But
I
then,
know it's a challenge.
but it's not. It hasn't been. I've never had major issues with it.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
no
Yeah.
misunderstandings or like, and nothing serious.
Yeah, and that's and my view on it is that language being understood and understanding in a language is a two-way street, right? Like it involves both people. So, it's not just up to the newcomer to learn the language properly, but again, the native speakers should also train their ear to hear better, listen better, right? And um, pay attention to the words and also I feel if I can understand someone what they're saying, then I'm not gonna correct them. Like if they want the correction, I'll tell them, but if not, I'm not gonna correct them because I feel that I understood them. They don't need the correction. We understand each other.
And that's what
So
matters.
yeah, it's just being understood and understanding each other. That's the main thing.
At the end of the day, you're dealing with another human being. Sometimes people make fun of other people's accents because yeah, Canada
Yes.
is super diverse and there's people from all over the world, and we
Yeah.
use English to communicate. So there's a lot of accents. For me, it wasn't difficult to understand people because I'm a daughter of YouTube and the internet.
I love the way you said that.
So I'm used to listen to people from different parts of the world speaking in
Yes.
English.
Mm-hmm. Very
But again,
true.
in person it's a bit different because people are faster. But other than that, I had no issues. And when I was in school, I had I had friends from Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria,
Wow.
India,
That's
Latin
cool.
America, like Colombia.
Oh my
So
gosh. Yeah, all over. I
it's
love
very
that.
diverse, right? But I understood everything they said because at the end of the day, it's English, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And what you said, that you have to be willing to listen and pay attention because it's both ways. And also just ask questions, whenever you don't get it, you just ask for
Yeah,
repetition.
exactly. And there's a kind way of doing that too. Not like,
Yes.
disrespectful or rude.
But a lot of people are too focused on making fun of other people or
Mhm.
hating other people by them having an accent. And I had a really strong argument once on WhatsApp defending Indians
Yeah.
because I worked with Indians before. In tech, there's a lot of Indian people. So I've never had issues understanding what they're saying because it's a human being.
Yeah.
And it I don't need to put a lot of effort into understanding another human being. But people make it
Exactly.
such a big deal that I
Yeah.
don't understand. Well, that's a you problem that
That is
you
a
don't
you.
understand.
Yeah, it's a like 50%, right? Like 50-50. Like you have to also train your ear to how that language sounds in that accent as well. Because the like certain words would sound different. It's like, oh, okay, I know they're saying that word, but that's how it sounds in that accent. It's like, but yeah, no, I mean, with accents, right? My opinion on it is that, always, whenever I hear someone having an accent, I always think of my own parents, right? And like I see like the history of their struggle in that person too. So I have empathy for them right away because, like I see my parents in them. And I also feel that, having an accent, what that tells me about the person is like this person is multilingual, first of all. So this is a highly intelligent person. And that, you know, they also had especially when they immigrated, they had the courage to do what a lot of native people would not have the courage, right? So, you know, they need to be, immigrants should be proud of themselves that they've made that big decision to leave and challenge themselves for this kind of life. The hardest thing is leaving your family behind. And then leaving everything familiar, the culture, friendship, food, because we know the food does not taste the same.
Yeah.
Even if you tried to uh, make the same dish in another country, the raw materials are different. Actually, one of my old coworkers told me this, but it always stayed with me. He was from Mexico too. Um, yeah, you know what? Shout out to Fernando for this. So he said that when you're eating in a country, you're eating that region of the world, the soil, the weather, the air quality. Everything is different because of those factors, right? So yeah, I mean, if you try to make a dish from the Dominican Republic in Canada, it's gonna taste different than the DR.
Yeah. Our plantains are different for sure. Here it's a
Yeah,
bit tasteless. I don't know why, but
an avocado, we talked about that one.
yeah.
Like, you know, it's very different because it's that part of the earth. Accent is a reflection of someone's choices, someone's big decisions, and like the challenges that they overcame and that they still are going through, right? Um, but yeah, so immigrants need to be proud of themselves, I think, and not shrink themselves. Um, but it's easier said than done, you know. I We speak a lot about this with my parents, and it took a long time for my mom, for instance, to like find her voice here in
Mhm.
Canada. She like when she moved here with my dad, like she was very quiet. And she told me it took like 10 years for her to feel really confident here to speak her mind. Uh, but even longer to express herself, like the full expression of her personality. So it takes time, but yeah, it's part of the immigrant experience, the need to shrink, but yeah, I think more immigrants should be empowered to expand and to see like what a great achievement that is and what a big achievement that is uh to make a life in a new country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also add that we also need compassion from the other side because you know you can be proud, you can be um confident, and you can work hard, you know, to learn and everything. But you know, some people are driven by hate or
Yeah.
trauma or
I
whatever,
know.
and they just have hate to share or negative things to share. And I
I know.
think they should also do the exercise of thinking, you know, if that's what they want for their lives, if that's like the kind of energy they want to be surrounded by.
Yeah. No, I know. I understand that. Like if you haven't again had that exposure, like no one in your family was an immigrant, uh
But
you aren't gonna
my comment is also for a lot of people, a lot of people that are also immigrants. So it's not like,
yeah.
I think with local people, it's everyone. Like I
Yeah.
think people just like to make fun of whatever other people around them are making fun of. They just deem it as acceptable and as normal or cool even sometimes, and they just don't, you know, step back and think and reflect on, does this even make sense, right?
You're talking about other immigrants. Yeah, maybe leaving the country is it's viewed in a different way. So then they have that hateness maybe even for themselves. You're right. It's compassion is very important in this whole process of immigration and then connecting with locals, connecting with other immigrants.
Your own little community in the new place.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Um, so I want to get into talking also about so we kind of touched on it, the economy. So now I want to talk about what it's been like in Canada. So I know you've been job searching. So yeah, tell us about that process, what that has been like to be looking for work right now. Um, yeah, what from a practical perspective, but then also just emotionally, the challenges there of job searching.
So it's been really tough for many reasons. Uh, some of them are, the market is tough nowadays.
Yeah,
There's a lot of layoffs. It's hard to stand out because there's also a lot of competition.
yeah,
Um, and for me personally, it's always been a challenge to sell myself, right?
mm,
To
I
speak
feel that.
big of my work and my accomplishments and that. And I think in not necessarily only today's market, but in general, if you're in a very competitive environment, which yeah, the GTA is,
Yeah.
you have to put in the effort to stand out. And that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing more on that now. Before, when I say before, is basically last year. Uh, I had a couple interviews, and they were always from referrals from people that I've met through past jobs, or a couple people I've met here. Um, they all flopped for different reasons. So it's been hard for me to find a specific pattern, but I, as I'm reflecting on why I didn't sell myself in the right way for the specific role,
Yeah.
and just learning and trying to do it better in the next one.
Yeah.
um it's hard also. It depends on the industry you are working. Tech, I think, is messy all over the world right now, not only here.
Absolutely.
um I'm assuming other industries are also struggling, but it's different, right? Depends on what kind of job you are targeting. So yeah, I'm positive though, which is I think the most important part, because it's
Yep.
emotionally draining,
It
and
is.
you doubt yourself all the time, to the
Yep.
point where you ask if you can even do the job, even though you've been doing it for a long time before
I
even
feel
being in
that.
this situation. But there's no benefit from stucking, with the idea of, oh, it's the market, or oh, it's it's things you can't control.
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done. I think
Yeah.
therapy
I know.
it
I
does
know.
help. I know it's expensive, and that's another thing. Like, it's a shame that many services that have a real impact, like therapy or career coaching, usually to get like a decent quality service, it's so expensive. So you just think like, oh my God, like, okay, I can afford this now, but what about the people who can't, right? It's so unfair. Uh, and this is not necessarily related, but sometimes I see people that are highly skilled, highly educated, directing huge companies for profit. And I just wonder, if we had those people doing the same, but for a more human centric purpose, wouldn't it be nice? Like, maybe, that maybe the world will be a bit different, like have those
Yeah.
people with those great minds and talents and skills to actually build something that have real tangible impact on people's quality of life and not just profit and convenience. A lot of
Yeah.
what we have nowadays is convenient, yes, but they also optimize mostly for profits too.
Yeah, when you start to reflect on the economy, you're just like, why does someone need that much money? Or they could solve some of the world's issues if they invested that money differently, right? But you can't control them, right? They're always going to do what they want to do. So you have to just kind of come back and ground yourself in what can I do? How can I help my community? Uh, how can I serve others, right? You have to stay positive and have this like radical optimism because yeah, like job searching is not for the faint of heart right now.
It's
You
tough.
know,
It's tough.
it's very tough. It's very difficult to find your candidate market fit right now. Like, where do I even fit in with the skills that I have, right?
Mhm.
Because even myself, like I'm pivoting in my career. It's like, you know, I have I have most of the skills for one role, but I don't have as many years of experience. Someone with more experience is gonna snatch that role.
Hard to pivot because you kind of have to start from scratch. So you start wondering, do I have more chances starting from scratch or just, changing strategies and doing what I've been doing and growing there? It's hard to
Yes,
know. I think it comes
yes,
to what you want long term for yourself. I think that's a way to find what you want to work towards and keep, pivoting your strategy, right? Because if that doesn't work, then of course, maybe pivoting to another job, career, or a path might be the answer as well. So,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I can't predict anything. I have no idea, right?
yeah, yeah,
I'm positive. I want to see it as you still need people, to have like the human judgment and bring people together or bring agents together, right? You don't know, but I think human judgment is still valuable skill,
yes, yes.
or not a skill, but it's important. I think it's essential still.
I want to be hopeful that AI is going to replace like kind of the tedious tasks in society, the boring kind of work, so that we have more time to be creative, to be creators, and to be more artistic even. Because especially I feel during the pandemic, we seen that then all like the importance of art and creative pursuits. I want to come back to the inner child. Is what would you say to yourself as a child? Like imagine like you're in a room, you're there with your 5-year-old self.
Hmm. Maybe I will change a bit the age because I don't think I have a lot of memories of me at 5, and the ones that
Right?
I have
That's
are
fair.
not even 6. I think my memories of me being young are after 10,
Okay.
maybe, or at least the memories where I can have some kind of conversation. Usually, when when people think about these questions and have this kind of conversation, is like, is there something you can reassure or tell your younger self that maybe they were worried about, right? They were
Yeah.
certain or not confident enough. So my framing goes with that idea. I always wanted to do cool things. And for me, cool
Mm.
things is creating things with my hands. Um, Over the years, it has translated to sewing mostly. But even then, it was just things, right? Like crafts, and not necessarily big things, but just, create things. And like things, creative, like decorating, and I like having spaces that look and feel the way I want, right? And maybe as a kid, first of all, you don't have you don't have resources for any of that.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
That's so true.
You also don't have much taste yet because you're young.
Yes,
You
yeah,
haven't experimented enough to
very true.
clearly define what you like. And even as an
Yes.
adult, that will change.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember being very interested in Japanese fashion. I remember liking like interior design, not like, when you go on Pinterest today and you go and see like interior design, everything is very like thematic and
Yeah.
themed, not that kind of thing.
Okay.
I guess I wanted to have a space that will serve my creation,
I like
but it
that.
doesn't
That's
have to be
interesting.
like fancy. It's just, I need
Yeah.
the table, I need to be able to have a space for my sewing machine and my different tools. Nothing fancy, but I wanted
Yeah.
that. And I actually had that almost when I was an adult because, I lived with my parents, so we shared space. I had like a crafting corner in the living room, and sometimes I moved it to different places of the house, but I always felt like I was in the way and I didn't like it. So I wanted to have a space that was mine, right? So that I'm not in the way. So all of my worries were around things I wanted to do, but I couldn't for
Mm,
either lack of resources or knowledge, skills gap. But I think I will tell her to just be patient and, keep doing what you're doing because eventually you will get there. And I think that's been true. I've been able to make most of the things I want, and the ones that I haven't done yet, it's just a matter of time, I think. So
yeah.
also I don't have high expectations, and I think that's a big thing. I don't dream
I'd
of making
honestly.
insane big things. So, it's uh, maybe it's a coping mechanism, to just focus on things that are reasonable and like doable, maybe.
That's honestly like a good thing. I think if you don't have high expectations, because having high expectations, you get let down a lot when
Hmm.
things don't meet that expectation, and it leaves a lot of disappointment.
I think something that also helps is constantly defining why you want to do things.
Yeah.
And the reason I say constantly is because that will change, and it's normal that it
Yeah.
will change.
Yeah.
But sometimes we lose our track, or we get caught up in maybe the excitement of a new project or doing a new thing. And that new thing might not necessarily be aligned with your current priorities or your values. And
Mm,
then it's easy to feel like lost.
yeah.
So that's something I do. Because of the move to a new country, I haven't been doing as much things as I did before, but I still engage in creative activity because it's important to me.
Yeah.
So sometimes I will sew things, even if they're very little, it keeps me creative. And I'm happy, I have the chance to do these things. I don't expect to make like multiple costumes a year, like with the level, of quality and detail that I want,
Yeah.
because it's just not realistic. And I
That's true.
don't I don't punch myself for that. I think you also
Yeah.
have to give yourself some grace as you
That's
create.
so important. Yeah. I like that mentality. Uh, It's definitely necessary. Yeah, if you're okay, we'll say the 10-year-old version. The 10-year-old version of yourself. What do you think she would say if she saw you now?
I think she will be proud.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
And excited. I mentioned briefly that I always was interested in Japanese fashion.
Yes.
I clearly remember making the choice when I was a teen that I wasn't gonna be able to engage in fashion and cosplay at the same time because they were both really expensive, and I had
Yeah.
like it was impossible to do both at that time.
That's
And I
true.
chose cosplay. It was a lot more affordable. So in the pandemic is actually when I remembered I liked those things. And because,
Mm,
everyone was locked in and there were no events to go, or
I know.
I started thinking about these things again. And that's when I was like, oh, I have a job now, and maybe I can start slowly, getting some fashion pieces and dress in a way that I always wanted. But I wasn't cosplaying. So even having the job, even being able to afford both, I didn't. And once the pandemic, everything went kind of back to normal, I dramatically stopped. It sounds like engaging in fashion, it's tied to consuming a lot, which it can be, but it doesn't have to be. But I
That's
stopped
true.
buying pieces because now, well, events are back and I also want to cosplay because it's the thing that I prioritize. So I bought fabric instead
Yeah.
and made my own things. So
Yeah.
here I do a little bit of both, which is okay. I don't have a lot of money for either, but if I can get some fabric, I can make things, which is it satisfies my creative side of my brain, but
Yeah.
also it's something wearable that I can wear. Right. So it's
Yeah.
just finding what works for you in the different seasons of your life.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, and then I do have another question. If you could say in one sentence what happiness means to you.
I think I've been the most happy when I'm sharing things with the people I love.
Oh, I love
So
that.
that's either my husband, right? Or the illusion to do things with the people I love, like my sister or some friends, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, because I'm far away from them, I think about these things a lot. Like, oh, I want to go and do these things. Like, I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to doing things with my friends and family. And all the thought of like the illusion, the fantasy gives me happiness.
That's
And
interesting.
working towards that and seeing happening, it hasn't because I'm still here, right? But it also
Yeah.
it kind of brings me joy. Of course, my husband is here and I live with him and we do a lot of things together. So
Yeah.
that kind of validates that for me. That's a really strong source of joy.
Yeah. That's an interesting way of putting it. Like fantasizing about this moment that's about to happen
Mhm.
is also bringing you joy too. It's very like, how do I say? It's like visualization and even like manifestation.
Yeah. But
But
it's also for things you plan, right? And if that's
yeah,
a big motivation, then how do you get there? Because you want that so bad, you're gonna focus on making it happen.
yes, yes, exactly. Very true. And then yeah, my last question to wrap up here is, yeah, how are you honoring your inner child today?
Mm, I think a big part of my childhood, early teenage years was being comfortable with what I liked and with the values that I have. And that is, cosplay or being creative or liking different genres of music. I grew up liking rock and metal, and that's not your average teenage in the DR, it's not. People are a lot more open nowadays. Even anime
Yeah.
back then, it was very niche. Now it's cool and I love kids,
Okay.
It's best time to be a young person, but it wasn't back then.
That's
So I
interesting.
I always liked like weird quirky things. And I also had like different values in terms of like religion, and how I see the world. So I think I'm honoring that perspective that I had from very young age by continuing that and continuing educating myself so I do better around with the people around me, but I also continue doing what I deemed valuable back then that I'm still trying to protect.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Like you're keeping like that like weirdness, quirkiness, silliness alive. And like the creator side of you, because creating is such a big part of who you are as well. So yeah, no, I love that. Oh, that's
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you so much, Ariana, for agreeing to be the first to be on my podcast here, and yeah, for your courage and for sharing your story. Yeah, I love talking with you. Yeah, it's such an honor and pleasure. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really great experience. I'm not the best at speaking. I'm
No,
actually not even good, I think, but it's been great.
no, you are wonderful. Yeah, like you spoke from your heart, and yeah, I love that. So I appreciate you.